As far as I know, his other son is still in America. Why has he not told him to come back to Nigeria to come and restore the glory? Why has he not done that? Why is it good for other people's children? I'm speaking about hypocrisy. Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new to my channel, hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Summer. So in this video, I want to talk about what I call hypocrisy of Pastor Oyedepo, right? So this story right now is going around social media about Oyedepo is a pastor. For anyone that does not know, he's one of the mega pastors in Nigeria, and he's one of the richest pastors in the world. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's the top. Was it last year or the year before he was declared the richest pastor in the world and all of that? So just for those that do not know who he is. So there is a publication going around social media that he said the young Nigerians should stay, or Nigerians should stay and restore Nigerians' glory, something like that. Let me see how it is. Let me make sure I'm saying it. Stay in Nigeria to restore its lost glory. At least he's even acknowledging that the glory is lost. Abi, okay, let me read the excuse me. So let me read the full article. I'm reading this one from the Post, written by Wale Odunsi of the Post. So it says, stay in Nigeria. Oyedepo cautions youth against Japa. For anyone that does not know, Japa is a Yoruba word. It is a word for flee, escape, whatever way you want to. But basically, it's about fleeing, leaving. So he's speaking about emigration. There is a mass emigration in Nigeria right now. So that is what Japa means. I always like to explain for those that do not understand, those are not Nigerians, so that they don't feel lost in the story. So it says, Bishop David Oyedepo has cautioned youth against the Japa syndrome, leaving Nigeria for green pastures. The founder of the Living Faith Church, better known as Winners Chapel, spoke with the news agency of Nigeria, NAN, on Saturday. Now, he even went that far. So even speaking about it in his church is not enough. Now he had to go to NAN. Okay. Oyedepo advised the government to massively invest in citizens to restore the lost esteem of the country. The Chancellor said human capital development remains the most viable and stable stock of any nation. Education requires more investment, being the bedrock of sustainable national development, the cleric stressed. Oyedepo pointed out that an enabling environment for youths would reduce the number of those leaving Nigeria. He insisted relocating is not the best option, noting that many youths are stranded in foreign countries but cannot return because of shame. Parents need to reorientate their children. We all, right? He said, we all need to stay in Nigeria to rebuild. Has he brought his son back to Nigeria? Has he? Okay, I'll come back to that in a second. Everyone has a part to play in the recovery of his nation, the preacher said. Now, this is not the first time in recent times that I'm speaking about people who are doing well, speaking against Japa. I made a video recently, and when I use the word people that are doing well, until I see the wretched man on the street that is going through whatever, until I hear from the everyday man that is going through the real Nigeria, any other person is speaking for themselves. Because you cannot be living above the people. Your life is doing really well in Nigeria, and you think you're in a position to tell people whether they should leave the country or not. Let me tell you guys, there are a lot of countries with problems or one way or the other, and yet their citizens do not leave because their country is still better than... No, first thing first, I want to say, there are some people that feel like, oh, you're telling the truth, oh, but don't say it. Please, why should we not say the truth? I really want to understand that. Why should we know the truth and be quiet about it? When I speak about hypocrisy, right, what I'm speaking about is this. This man, he has 2 sons. And his 2 sons, right, the reports is that he sent one, to go and pastor their headquarters in America, and the other son to pastor the headquarters in the UK. If you do not know Nigeria, right, in Nigeria, the top most respected country in Nigeria is America and the UK. This man that is telling other people's children not to leave, his own children, one was sent to America and the other one was sent to the UK. Apparently, some reports said that the son's stay was not renewed in the UK, so that's why the son went back and stayed in Nigeria. So the one in America is still in America, but the other one is in Nigeria. That one that is in Nigeria, he has made him vice president. I hope I'm saying, I think he's, yeah, I think that's what I call it. He's the vice president. Now the youngest ever vice president of their church, vice president of their big branch, their headquarters in Nigeria. So if, according to the reports, they did not, if they had renewed his son's UK stay, he would have been in the UK. So when I speak about hypocrisy, let's be telling, like I live abroad, right? And I have grown children. I personally will not send my grown children to go and live in Nigeria, like relocate back to Nigeria. And I will not say it to another person. So I'm not telling you what I would not do. It is pure hypocrisy and deception to tell other people's children to do what you will not want or what you are not doing with your own children. As far as I know, his other son is still in America. Why has he not told him to come back to Nigeria to come and restore the glory? Why has he not done that? Why is it good for other people's children? I'm speaking about hypocrisy. I don't know what the agenda is. I honestly don't know. But I think that there's something up. Maybe as people are Japa, as people are Japa, tithe and offering, they meet the, how do I even say it now? Their normal budget or whatever you want to call it. Why is it their business when people decide to leave the country or not to leave the country? People are living in abject poverty. He's saying they always talk about Nigerians that are abroad are suffering. No matter if they are suffering abroad and they have not gone back, a lot of them have not gone back because they know that where they are is still better than Nigeria they left behind, unfortunately. You cannot be living such a life and you are telling people that are struggling not to go look for solution. I made a video the other day, I was explaining it. In the next 50 years, the country where you live or die will not matter. Let's even not talk too much. Let's say in the next 100 years, this generation will be far gone. Far, far gone. Will it matter then if you lived in Nigeria for the rest of your life? I made a video which I was saying that I told my mother, I said, all this one you're talking about, when we get to heaven, God will not ask you, are you coming from Nigeria? Or are you coming from America? Are you coming from Ghana? Are you coming from China? It won't matter. There's only one life. Anything that you need to do to ensure that this is your one life, you lived it in a way that you can, at the end of it, you can say, yes, I have lived. I would always say, do it. I would always say, do it. They keep saying, don't Japa. I was even thinking to myself, as people, let me tell you guys, there are some wealthy, rich people that they know that they still need the poor to continue to thrive. Some rich people are enjoying because of the poverty of the poor. How many drivers of the rich are actually being paid good incomes? How many? How many house helps? Do you know what happens if, how many house helps are actually being paid what a nanny will be paid in the Western society? Like when I say, it's not the same amount, but you see in Western society, nannies are making enough income to enable them to live well. When I say well, they can afford to buy a house from their income. They can afford to buy nice cars from their incomes. They can afford to wear nice clothes from their incomes. How many nannies in Nigeria are making that kind of money to enable them to live almost like their oga? So why are they so obsessed with those that are living to go pursue a better life? Look at a lot of the pastors in Nigeria. 99.9% of them, their children schooled abroad, their children are living abroad. So before you come and tell other people's children not to live, bring your own children, all of them, back home. If it's good for other people's children, let it be good for you as well. This is the man that sacked his pastors because they did not build enough members during COVID when people were sitting at home. They sacked them. And if does such a pastor tomorrow decides to emigrate, somebody like him will come to him and tell him not to leave the country. Do you know that sacking in a civilized society, like they call them, those pastors they had the right to sue for unlawful dismissal. But in Nigeria, they can just do it. They are unquestionable. There is something happening. And I think that the poor has had enough. And are beginning to feel like the rich are becoming uncomfortable with this movement. Because maybe if they go finish, how are we going to survive? Because believe it or not, there are a lot of the rich that are rich and enjoying on the head or the heads of the poor. You know, how are the young going to rebuild Nigeria when somebody like him owns 2-3 private jets, whatever number of private jets he owns? You see, when they speak about how rich he is, at the end of the day, or even they say a church is this rich, or they say this pastor is this rich, what it shows you is that a lot of money goes in to the system, their system, that doesn't go back out into circulation. That's what's going on. A lot of money goes in. Churches are supposed to be charity organizations, because that's what Christ came and did. He came for the poor. He fed the masses. He healed the sick. He did a lot of things with the small whatever they were able to make sure. When they brought the fish and the loaf and the bread to Jesus, he could have kept it for himself. He didn't. What did he do? He multiplied it and fed the multitude. But the pastors of these days will keep it for their generations unborn. When your own generations that are here already are suffering, they are acquiring wealth that some of them brag about it, that their 10th generation will not even suffer. They brag about it. And they're talking about the glory of the country when somebody like them are acquiring so much wealth. A country that is called the poverty capital of the world, to have the richest pastors in the world. What does that tell you? What that basically tells you is that a lot is coming into them that never leaves. It gets there. The money that goes there, it does not go back into circulation, helping church members. I repeated this several times. The Bible explains to us that everything that was brought, or the things that were brought to the apostles' feet, were distributed to everyone according to their needs. The offerings and everything that were brought to the apostles were distributed to everyone according to their needs. If the apostles kept them, they would have been, riding chariots and building castles in their times. They didn't do it. But the pastors of these days, everything that is being brought to them stays with them, never goes back to help the people. When the apostles distributed to everyone according to their needs, it meant that if you needed more than myself, they will give you more. If another person needed, they gave according to how much need you had. That was how they distributed it. Is it happening today? And the Bible then explained that none among them lacked. Nobody among them lacked, because the apostles distributed to everyone according to their needs. Is that happening in churches today? Of course it's not happening. And you wonder why people want to Japa. They forget that Japa did not start today. Even in the Bible, they were Japaing from one place to the other. They moved. People moved. There were a lot of reasons to move. Movement is not a new thing. Abraham moved. What's his name? Tell me, a lot of them migrated at one point or the other. There was migration. Lot himself moved. It was not a frown. It was not something that was frowned upon. People move when people don't just wake up and start moving. Movement is something people do because people are looking for greener pastures. It was in the Bible. I don't think there's any much more to say. My biggest thing is this. This is pure hypocrisy. If you can send your own children abroad, which person picking the abroad no good for their body? Practice what you preach. Why are your children not in Nigeria? And like I said, he still has a son in America. Why is he not in Nigeria? What gospel is he going to preach in America according to reports, the son that went to America went and took over from another pastor that was there. That other pastor, why don't you leave that? And I think that other pastor, I don't know if that pastor was brought back to Nigeria. So why did his son have to go there? He was not needed. There was somebody there that was doing well. At the end of the day, my point is this. This is hypocrisy. What you're preaching to other people's children, practice what you preach. That is how I feel about it. In what way has people like him contributed into the Nigerian economy? I don't know. If you know, tell us. They are building universities that the poor cannot afford. And you wonder why they're emigrating. They are building schools and everything, things that they are building that the poor cannot afford. They build these things with the tithes and offering of the poor people. And then they build it and then the poor cannot afford it. And people like him has the audacity to tell people not to leave the country. In what way has he tried to prevent people from moving? by trying to help people's life. This video has gone longer than I planned. At the end of the day, I don't know what your opinion is. As always, whatever your opinions are, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And with that, I'm going to say thank you for watching. Until the next time, guys. Bye-bye. Bye.